Hey everybody, Dan Ray here from Greensboro, North Carolina, and this is the Cover Band Confidential podcast. And it's just me today because Adam's up to some stuff, and we had a technical glitch with the interview I did last week. So we'll be bringing you a redo of that one. You're actually going to have to sit down and rehave that conversation, which is a little bizarre, but the recording completely didn't go, so it's a bummer, but there it is. There's something I want to talk about today that is, I'm experiencing it pretty directly right at the moment, and it's something that I think a lot of cover band folks deal with, and I guess probably people deal with in anything that they're working on or passionate about. And I find myself at a pretty unique place in my life. I shared on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, I got laid off about a month ago from my day job, which is not all bad news. But the experience of waking up in the morning and not having a place to go and having this project called Finding a New Job that doesn't really have, the path of that is not real linear. There are things to do and actions to take, but you sort of never know which action is going to be the thing that's going to pop out a result. And I have found that in the last week or two, my motivation for things, my motivation for job hunting for sure, my motivation for my music has been down. It's been off from what it has been. I started this band, the Clanky Lincolns, a little more than a year ago. Co-founded it with my friend Justin and found Tony and Scott's amazing rhythm section, and we've been playing for a year now. It's been amazing. It's been really, really great. And now I'm looking at our next gig and the work it's going to take to get ready for it, and even the thought of going into our practice space and setting up the PA, which is still sitting on the cart from where I wheeled it in from our last show last weekend. It's just hard to imagine getting up for that. I mean, I'd have to put on pants, I'd have to... I'm literally sitting here podcasting in my underwear. TMI, but there it is. Because I think it's worth saying out loud every now and then that it's really easy to get your enthusiasm for something punctured. It's really easy to get your... for me, it doesn't take much to feel bad about what I'm doing and question the quality of it and start to feel like there's, like maybe I'm putting all this effort in for something that's not worth it. So I look back, we had the potential to pick up a gig a week or so ago at a place we played twice before, and the owner of that place basically didn't want us and didn't elaborate on that. And I know mostly it was a Thursday night thing, which mostly he does jazz, and we played there on his Thursdays a couple of times, and he's been enthusiastic about us. So maybe he just didn't feel like replacing the jazz band that was canceling with a rock band. He felt like that was, I don't know, whatever reason we would make up is completely made up. But, ever since that, I've kind of had this like, is it worth it? Is it worth all we do? Is it, and even just getting myself up for doing the basics has taken some work. It's taken some, a conversation with myself about, no, this is what I do. This is what I care about. Even though what my body seems to want to do is to sit on the couch and binge watch something. It's been The Office lately. We're up to where he started Michael Scott Paper Company. That's how far I've gotten so far. So I just want to say that out loud. I think it's worth, a lot of times, I know for me, when things aren't going terrific, and somebody asks me how it's going, the word that comes out of my mouth is fine. It's fine. And in the cosmic sense, it's not like I'm lying about that. It really is fine. But one thing I think we have the opportunity to do here in this community around this podcast, and certainly around other places cover band people talk, is to tell the truth about our struggles and how it's hard sometimes, how it's hard to do what we do and be what we are. And I think it is a purely internal struggle on my part. Nobody's told me, that we're wasting our time. The show we played last weekend at Foothills Brewery in Winston, which was Winston-Salem, North Carolina, which is a great venue, really well known, sort of the anchor of that part of downtown. And it was a great show, and we killed it, and people loved it, and I walked out of it just very aware of the problems with the show, and not in the experience of joy that I often am after a gig. And I think that has something to do with where I am in my life right now. I think it has something to do with where I see the next place the band could go is, and I'm sort of eager to bridge that gap. But I'm just noticing that the joy of it, the love of it, is not as immediate for me. So, I don't think I don't know if I need any support or assistance or anything from everybody. I'm pretty clear it's just a thing that I'm putting my own self through inside my own story of what's going on. But we wouldn't have put out a podcast this week if I hadn't sat down and recorded this, because I just have been totally not motivated to get with Adam and schedule it. And, the struggle we had technically last week, seems unsurmountable. And even though it's a thing that we've dealt with before and it's not a big deal, and we're looking for tools that'll avoid it next time. I'd love to hear from you guys. I'd love to hear if you ever come up against just a lack of motivation or a feeling like this is a struggle or this is not worth it. I know all those things aren't real. I know all that's not true. I know that the love I have for playing music, and for that matter, the love I have for my my career. I'm a software guy, and I've loved doing that for a long time. And it's not like nothing's moving, by the way, about my job search. I actually have a couple of interviews lined up for next week that for really good opportunities. But even the thought of getting myself in a suit and getting out to that is oh God, couldn't I just, sell everything I own and live in a box instead? So, not to be too big a bummer, this is the Depression Cast 2018. It's not that bad. It's actually really not that bad. But I think if we can use each other as a support and use each other as a sounding board and use each other for the encouragement of what we're doing. Because, by the way, have you noticed that we're total weirdos, us band people? We're so deep and passionate in this world that nobody, in the grand scheme of things, has any idea about. Nobody really cares that much about. It's a very strange thing. It's a very strange thing to care this much and have this much attention and interest and passion about something that most people just, enjoy as a consumer, but don't have any idea what it's really like from the inside. So, those of us on the inside of it can have a special kind of conversation because we are inside of it and we share this background together. Anyhow, I don't really have much of a place I'm going with this. I just wanted to sort of, I wanted to put something out this week, and I knew that Adam was going to be hard to pin down on a time because he's very busy, and wanted to overcome my own inertia, I guess, about that. So, anyway, I just want to make sure everybody knows that, here is a community of band folks. We have each other's back and we support each other. And even though in some places online it may not look like there's a lot of support, for sure in the Cover Band Confidential community there is. And, it's a little smaller, a little tighter knit. And, hopefully we can all pull together and improve everything that we're doing for everybody. Anyway, I will give you an update about my mental state as we get back into sort of regular weekly stuff in the next week or two. Hopefully we will put a regular podcast out next week, and then the interview that I did with Danny Skeel of Jukebox Revolver, who's a prominent dude on my local scene here and quite a good player, and his band is really killer. And we had a super great conversation that didn't record correctly at all. So we're going to have to just sort of replay that conversation together. But we'll get that to you in the next couple of weeks, too. Anyway, there you have it. Cover Band Confidential. This is Dan Ray coming to you from Greensboro, North Carolina. We will catch you guys sometime soon. Thanks.